so hopeless. Jesus Christ, that's where hope is.
So in today's video, I wanted to talk about the State of the State address by the governor of South Dakota. I just had a chance to listen to it, and there were some encouraging things that were said, and then there were some really problematic things that were said in dealing with abortion. One of the encouraging things is that the governor talked about abortion straight out of the gate. It was really interesting. She started out with introducing some of her friends that have Down syndrome children, and then began to talk about the beauty of these children that are created in God's image, and the blessing and benefit that these children are, not only to their families, but to the community in general. She rightly began to talk about places like Denmark that are killing children with Down syndrome and are praising their efforts, saying things like they are eradicating Down syndrome, but the truth is what they are doing is killing people that have Down syndrome. She rightly connects children with Down syndrome as being preborn humans that are created in the image of God. So all of these things, I do want to commend the governor of South Dakota for making these statements, for having the courage to address them, and in her case, at the very beginning of the State of the State address that she gave yesterday. This is in huge contrast to the governor of Texas, who 2 years ago, at the beginning of the legislative session, did not mention abortion or the Republican Party platform and priority to end abortion in Texas. And this happened just weeks after the death of Jeremiah Thomas, who in a telephone conversation with him for the Make-A-Wish Foundation was told by the governor that he would use his power and that the platform of the Republican Party and the priorities were to address abortion and make it illegal. And unfortunately, he acted like a coward and not only did nothing, but he didn't even mention it once in his address. So I do want to commend the governor of South Dakota for bringing this up. I want to commend her for saying things like children with Down syndrome are a benefit to their family. They're a benefit to our community, to our society, our state, and our country. I want her to know that I commend her for appealing to the image of God that these children are created in. That is our moral argument for them and their dignity, their worth, the inherent beauty that they have and value is in that image that they are created in. So I do want to give her credit for saying those things. But after she makes her argument that these preborn children are created in the image of God, and that's where they find their value and worth, she bows down to the de facto God of the Supreme Court. And she does it in a way where she says, I look forward to the day when the Supreme Court recognizes their humanity and right to life. I find this really interesting, especially considering the actions that she took during the tyrannical lockdown that were happening across the United States. But here, in this case, taking her cues from the pro-life establishment and mentioning them shortly after, she capitulates and bows down to the state. In essence, saying, I would love to protect children that are created in God's image because they are created in God's image. But my true God, the state, will not allow me to do so. I will not exercise the authority given to me by God because the authority of man is greater. She bows down to the Supreme Court's recognition of the humanity of these children. Rather than relying on the argument that she makes at the beginning, that these children have value, worth, beauty, because they are created in God's image, and you cannot unjustly kill a human because they are created in God's image. Down syndrome children are valuable. They are worth protecting. But they are worth protecting not because they're disabled, not because they have an extra chromosome, not because they are more vulnerable. They are worth protecting because they are human. We need to be consistent with our argumentation, or else it will come to no avail. It will be useless. And it's interesting to note that the Democrat leaders, when addressing what the governor has said about the legislation that they're about to push and ask the legislator to put forward, the Democrats said they're not even going to fight it. And the reason they said that they're not going to fight it is they said that it's actually going to do absolutely nothing. It's not going to add any more restrictions to a woman's right to access abortion. It is not going to be an obstacle or an undue burden placed on the woman seeking to unjustly kill her own preborn child. You see, this is all just a publicity stunt. In a time where people, specifically conservative Republicans, are trying to galvanize their base against the Democratic Party, They're going to start pushing more and more of these failed attempts at convincing their population that they stand for life. And the measures and laws that they are producing, just like this Democratic leader said, are going to be absolutely worthless. They will do nothing. And not only will it do nothing, but more importantly, they are unjust. They are unjust to all humans, because it leaves our moral argument behind. What this law that she is proposing is doing is saying that abortion doctors cannot unjustly kill a human if that human has Down syndrome, placing the value, the standard, on the disability of the human being rather than on the image in which that human is created. My encouragement to you is to not fall for these tricks, to stand up and demand equal justice. Point out the hypocrisy, point out the inconsistency, encourage our legislator, our executives to be consistent in their argumentation. If you really believe that children are created in the image of God, act in a manner that is consistent with that argument. Let us encourage our leaders to do what is right, to get behind them and to show them and walk with them. I hope you found this video helpful and encouraging. Leave me some comments below.